Today, we're going to talk about trauma, but maybe not in the way you're used to. We're going to explore what our bodies know, even when our minds can't quite put it into words. We're going to discover an unspoken voice inside all of us that holds the key, not just to why we suffer, but to how we can heal.
So let's just jump right into a pretty intense scene. Picture this. Dr. Peter Levine, one of the pioneers in this field, has just been hit by a car. He's lying there on the street, his heart is hammering, and the very first thing he says to the paramedic is, "Thank God I won't be getting PTSD."
I mean, what? How could anyone possibly know that, right? In the middle of a terrifying, life-threatening event? Well, that's the mystery we're going to solve today. And the answer you'll see isn't found in psychology, it's in our biology. And it all starts with a really fascinating paradox.
Right, so this brings us to what's called the animal paradox. And to really get a handle on human trauma, we've got to start by looking at the very creatures that, by all rights, should be the most traumatized beings on the planet.
Just think about it for a second. An impala gets chased by a lion. A rabbit freezes in its tracks as a hawk circles overhead. These animals live their entire lives on the brink of death. And yet, when they get away, they don't seem to get trauma. They don't have chronic anxiety or flashbacks. They just shake it off and go back to grazing. How? What's their secret?
Well, this chart really gets to the heart of it. After an animal survives, it instinctively does something crucial. It discharges all that pent-up survival energy. It trembles, it shakes, it takes a victory lap. It literally shakes the fear out of its body and resets its nervous system. But as humans, our big, rational brains often get in the way. We tell ourselves to get a grip or be strong. Society tells us to calm down. And by doing that, we short-circuit the process and trap all that intense energy right inside our bodies. It has nowhere to go. So, if that energy gets trapped, where does it go? And how does it get stuck? This leads us to the core physiological mechanism behind trauma, something called the freeze response.
The freeze response is your body's ultimate emergency brake. It's the most primitive survival tool we have. When you can't fight and you can't run, maybe you're trapped or just completely overwhelmed. Your nervous system takes over and just slams on the brakes. You become totally immobile. You know, like a deer in the headlights? That's not a choice. That's pure, deep-seated biology at work.
And just how powerful is this response? Get this. Researchers found that when an animal is both terrified and physically held down, it can stay frozen for up to 17 hours, even after it's been let go. That combination of fear plus immobility is the perfect recipe for trapping a massive amount of survival energy.
You know, this idea isn't new. It's so fundamental to the human experience that we've been telling stories about it for thousands of years. The myth of Medusa, right? The monster whose gaze turns men to stone. It's the perfect metaphor for being scared stiff, a terror so absolute it literally petrifies you.
So here is the crucial thing to understand. When the body is frozen, it is not calm. It is anything but calm. It's actually flooded with adrenaline and all the energy it needs for an explosive fight or flight. But since that action never happens, all of that raw, powerful survival fuel gets locked down inside the nervous system. And that's where the seeds of trauma are planted.
Okay, so we've got this trapped energy. But why does it hang around and cause problems for years, even decades later? It's because our memory of what happened isn't just a story we keep in our heads. It's also a physical record stored in our bodies.
It's really helpful to think about two kinds of memory here. First, there's explicit memory. That's the story you tell, right? The facts, the who, what, where, when. It's what you consciously recall. But then, there's this other deeper kind of memory called procedural memory. This is your body's memory. It's where the physical sensations, the clenched muscles, and, most importantly, all the survival actions that you started but never got to finish are stored. It's the record of the urge to run, to fight back, to scream for help.
And this, right here, might be the single most important idea we're going to talk about today. Trauma is not the car crash. It's not the assault. The event itself is not the trauma. The trauma is the charge of unresolved energy that's still stuck in your nervous system. It's the body's record, still braced for an impact that happened long ago.
So if the problem is a biological process that got interrupted, then it stands to reason that the solution has to be biological too. It's about finding a way to let the body finally finish what it started. Now, the key here is that this isn't about forcing yourself to go back and relive the traumatic story. In fact, sometimes that can just make things worse. Instead, the approach is to gently renegotiate with the body. It means creating a feeling of safety right now, in the present, so that those old, stuck survival patterns can finally, safely complete themselves. And this path of renegotiation has some pretty clear steps. It all starts with finding a sense of safety in your own skin, right here and now. From that safe place, you can start to gently notice what's happening in your body, any sensations, without judging them. As you do that, you might notice your body wants to make tiny movements, maybe a little tremble or a shake. And that's the final step, allowing that to happen. That is the discharge. That's the nervous system finally letting go of that old, trapped energy, just like that animal in the wild shaking off the fear. And when that discharge happens, the transformation can be absolutely incredible. This quote describes it perfectly. That same massive life or death energy that was causing anxiety and panic doesn't just disappear. It changes. It metamorphosizes into feelings of vitality and aliveness. The nervous system literally resets itself to a state of goodness. Which really brings us to a powerful and incredibly hopeful place. It's all about recognizing the profound wisdom our own bodies hold for healing. See, healing from trauma isn't about trying to forget what happened. We can't erase the past. But what we can do is change the past's hold on our body. Healing is about allowing your body to finally finish the story of survival that was cut short all that time ago. So let's just quickly recap the big ideas here. First, trauma is a physical process, not some kind of psychological weakness. Second, our bodies, just like animals' bodies, have a natural built-in ability to heal from it. And that healing comes from learning to listen to our bodies, not just analyzing our thoughts. We can absolutely learn to release that trapped energy safely. And because of all that, hope and true restoration are always possible. So, I'll leave you with this one question to think about. Underneath all the noise of our daily lives, beneath all the stories we tell ourselves, our bodies are constantly talking to us. So, what is your body trying to tell you?